Hey there, guys. If you're experiencing any kind of pain down through the neck and shoulder blade, between the spine and the shoulder blade and down into the shoulder and arm, don't go to your primary care or the ER. You're only going to get medications, injections, and a bunch of wasted time and effort, actually a large cost, when you can get that problem solved very quickly. So stay tuned to this video. We have 3 suggestions and 3 points here to get this thing fixed for you, okay? So if you don't know who I am, my name is Chris, physical therapist, owner of EHS Physical Therapy and Chiropractic, as well as the online program, the Herniated Disc Fix. And this is
Jake Anderson. I'm a chiropractor at Essential Motion.
So we work together in this kind of thing a lot, and we see it a lot. It's very common. Office workers, seated people, computer. If you are head forward or down, very common to get this pain through here. So the first thing that you need to think about is, number one, is the location. The location of the symptoms gives it away many times, right? So if we're talking about, so we have a story about a person that was, and I'll let you tell a story, that woke up, pain into the shoulder blade area, down the arm, went to the ER, and was told they had a rhomboid strain, which will explain where the rhomboid muscle is and why it cannot be that. It's the worst advice ever. And then we'll kind of talk about, the location, 1, 2, how did it start, or was there a mechanism? Did you lift something? Did something happen? Or did you just wake up with it? So because you can't strain a muscle unless you do something. That's how it works. You can't, have a tear or a strain to contractile muscle tissue unless you're doing something very active, which is a dead giveaway. So, and then third, what changes, what movements, positions, activities make it better and worse and change the location of the symptoms. Those are the 3 things that are the most important things to know, whether it's actually like, musculoskeletal like that, like a contractile, or if it's something more like which it's going to be more in the spine, the lower cervical spine or upper thoracic spine. So, go ahead, Jake, just start with the story, and then let's get into a couple of the reasons why we look at this.
Okay, so I had the opportunity yesterday to work with a gal. She was in her upper 40s, and she comes over, she goes, hey, I've been having this shoulder pain, and I've been struggling with it. Do you have any advice? Well, right away, I'm like, okay, yeah, where in your shoulder? What's going on with it? And sure enough, she points to, well, I've been feeling it up through here, up through the trap. It's been going down the shoulder blade and then down the arm. And right away, first clue, that's right away, that's not a shoulder issue. So then I go on, okay, that's where you're feeling it. Now, what happened? Like, did anything bring this on? Were you doing anything?
Point number 2.
Okay, mechanism, yeah. And right away, she dives into, well, no, it just kind of came on at the end of the day, and then I started noticing it when I woke up. Kind of freaked me out, so I went to the ER. Okay, the ER I understand these can be scary symptoms when you feel things in the arm, and a lot of people think they're having a heart attack or something like that, which that would be the other side. Yeah. This is her right side. But, so she went to the ER. She was scared. She didn't know what to do, okay? So she goes to the ER, and they diagnose her with a rhomboid strain. Yep. Okay, so the rhomboid is a very, very, paper-thin, tiny muscle. That sits...
It kind of runs...
Got it.
Kind of runs this way between the inside of the shoulder blade, the medial shoulder blade, and the spine. It's got some little fibers that go that way, kind of a mid-back muscle, but it's not able to cause that kind of referral pattern down the arm. And again, he went through the first one, location, very important, where is it at? 2, mechanism. She didn't have something where she picked something up or could
lift
tell
something overhead.
I knew right when it hurt, right?
Yeah, I felt it pop. Yep. I felt nothing like that.
So not only did she waste probably an hour to 2 hours of her time in the ER waiting.
Oh yeah.
Okay. She probably wasted upwards of $400 to $500 just for that visit alone.
Okay, and then
continue on the next part.
Yeah, just wait for this. Okay, here's the treatment she received. They gave her an injection in the shoulder, which did not change anything.
It's not a shoulder problem.
Yep, an injection in what she referred to as the mid-back. Could have been the rib area or the rhomboid area even. It could have been trigger point injection. I don't know for sure, but regardless, it didn't make a change. Then she was given muscle relaxers and Oxycontin. So right to an opioid for a simple mechanical pain.
And even if it was, so here's why it's so wrong to do that. So even if let's just back up and say it was a rhomboid strain. Let's just, she doesn't have arm pain.
That's fine.
Even that is the wrong assessment, okay, right? And it's the wrong treatment for a rhomboid strain. So even if it was a mechanical, muscle strain, I reached for something, I picked something up, ooh, I strained a muscle. You still should not get injections into the shoulder, injections into that muscle, and you should not get any kind of anti-inflammatory or muscle relaxer or a heavy narcotic for that.
While she was on the pills, she was also told to rest and do nothing.
That is just something that will recover with traditional and very conservative treatment of active movement in a pain-free range, and then slowly increase that into that's the wrong treatment anyway. So first of all, the diagnosis was wrong, but even if the diagnosis was right, it's the wrong treatment. So both are wrong, and you've wasted time in the ER, money on the visit,
money on the injections, pills,
and risk of some kind of infection, risk of some kind of adverse reaction to the injections, risk of some kind of dependency or some kind of reaction to the opioid and some of the drugs. So all in all, I mean, in our opinion, a complete, an utter not only waste of time but wrong. Like they're doing it all completely wrong and no benefit to her whatsoever.
Delayed her healing time, and now she's fearful. She's fearful of it. She was scared to do things overhead. She's a teacher. She starts school in 2 weeks. She's like, I don't know what I'm going to do in 2 weeks. Like, how I need to solve this. So then I start diving in a little bit more. Okay, well now we need to figure out what changes it. That's going to really key us in. Like we're already super confident it's a neck issue. But
point number 3.
Yeah. So I start. Let's just go through some neck range of motion first. Okay, she tucks down. Okay, that produces some. She leans back. She's got almost zero neck extension. She cannot bring her head up. She's like maybe got 20 degrees of motion in extension, cervical extension.
And probably a little bit of
loss of rotation, leaning away from that side produces the arm pain, classic things that we would see. So then I go to shoulder range of motion. Sure enough, she's restricted in shoulder flexion and shoulder abduction, which we'll always see pretty much in any neck referral case, and this is what's going on. No weakness, no significant numbness and tingling. She's got a little bit in the arm, but it doesn't go past the elbow, okay? So those are the simple movements that change it. Otherwise, she doesn't do any overhead work currently because she's fearful. So she hasn't even tested that out. So that's basically the information she gave me.
Probably pain with sitting in certain positions for too long. Possibly pain with driving.
Yeah, she said she can't turn her head.
Turning to look to the one side. Even being in this position, a lot of people will kind of drive this way and be forward. Being sustained can cause that to start to creep down into the arm a little bit. Definitely increased pain with bringing it back and kind of trying to look to the ceiling to load that up, which again, if it was a muscle thing, she wouldn't have any loss of neck range of motion. That's not how that works. So these are all pointing towards a lower cervical, upper thoracic problem, it's a common problem, but it's very fixable, and it's very dynamic and changeable quickly, because she noticed it started pretty quickly, progressed pretty quickly, and now she's very fearful of movement and change because she doesn't want to increase or turn on that pain. It's not a fun pain, but because she doesn't know what it is and doesn't know what to do, that fear has now said, well, I'm not going to do anything. I'm just going to stop, and I'm very confused because I should have had this fixed. I went to the doctor, and they didn't help me. I got injections, all these things. So now it's like, well, what else could I possibly do? Other than maybe get some more advanced imaging which would not be the answer either. But what can I do to fix this so I can get back to my career, to getting back to all the things that I want to do? And it turns out, and it's not this way in every case, but in the majority of cases, hers. Jake assessed it, and we actually were able to change it very quickly.
10 reps is all it took. 10 reps of a specific neck movement without even touching her, and pain came out of the arm, more range of motion, and she was able to turn further and lift her hands over her head further as well.
Similar story. I'm seeing somebody virtually right now helping her with her low back and a sciatic issue in New Jersey on the East Coast. And she was, when she lies or in bed playing games, like on an iPad, right? And then she said, well, I have this bad shoulder. So what do you mean you have a bad shoulder? Well, occasionally, right? So occasionally, not all the time. And a muscle is very consistent. You can't like strain a muscle and all of a sudden, like, when I turn that muscle on, it hurts. But then the next time I do it, 2 days from now it doesn't. Like if it's strained or torn, it's going to hurt every time. It's very consistent because it has to heal first, then it won't. But occasionally I wake up in the morning, I just can't move my arm. I just can't move it. It's very stiff. But then the next day, 2 days later, oh no, it's fine again. Okay, well, why would it be that? Again, so we have to look at location. Where do you feel it? Well, here, down the arm. What happened? Well, nothing happened. I didn't fall, I didn't injure it, so you can rule out some of the other things like a rotator cuff tear or any of those impingement, any of those
labrum
strains.
issue,
Yeah, because you didn't fall on it, you didn't injure it. And then 3, what makes it, a third point, what makes it better and worse? Well, when I'm in bed looking at my iPad and playing for a long time, or if I'm on the computer and doing stuff, what makes it feel better? When I'm up moving around. Okay. Again, quickly, just shoulder work into retraction, retraction extension. Oh, the arm moves a lot better. That's way better. That's all it is. I mean, but she would go down that same rabbit hole, that same medical
pathway
suction, like black hole essentially, and get injections and medications and doctor visits and advanced imaging and worst case scenario, some kind of surgery that she did not need. And would be no better afterwards. So that's why we wanted to go through this scenario, which we see quite often, and some of you or the person watching this right now may be in that situation where they're feeling this.
Someone who has.
And you're like, I don't know what's going on. They told me I had. You go to 5 different people. Well, someone said I had a rotator cuff issue. Someone said I had a rhomboid strain. Someone said I had an impingement. Someone said it's my first rib isn't moving quite. There's all kinds of things that can be, and it can be those things. But you got to think about what's the most likely scenario. Start there, and then work down from like the ones that are more rare.
Yep.
And the more likely scenario with the percentages of what's happening based on the symptoms that we're talking about, the location, the mechanism,
trauma,
and the change for better and worse. If you take those 3 into account and you're falling into that category, then the most likely scenario, the most likely cause is an upper back, lower neck issue, which is it's quickly fixable and
changed very quickly.
Yeah.
So
All right, so that's the stuff we wanted to talk about. Please share this with somebody else. Please drop a comment with any questions below. If you have any questions at all, you can also find us on any of our social media channels. Is Dr. Jake Anderson?
Yep.
So Dr. Jake Anderson on Instagram. I'm Exec Health Solutions or Herniated Disc Fix on Instagram. And please, follow us, like, share, let anything that so we can continue to
help you.
Yeah, help people with this problem and get the word out that there is a lot of not good treatment out there still. It's 2022 and there's still a lot of not good treatment out there. All right.
See you on the next one.